lights are out and you stumble in the dark. You kept pushing on, but then you went too far. When your ship has sailed and all your dreams are lost, everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just remember. Just remember. Just remember. You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds. And when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just remember. Just remember. Just remember. Just remember.
Hello, race fans, and welcome to Sim Racing Media. We are live here at Chicagoland Speedway for the Dynasty Racing League Pro Series, getting ready for round number 17. We've got qualifying happening here on the racetrack. 11 drivers ready to rock and roll here for right now. We might get a couple more in the next few minutes, but before we get too far ahead of ourselves, I'm Liam Irving, joined up in the booth by Matt Metler. Matt, how you doing? Here, ready for round 17.
You know, it's hard to believe this is round 17, but when the racing action, the drama, and the storylines have been this good, time indeed does fly by when you're having the time of your life up in the booth. Guess what? Chicagoland, this speedway is fast. It's got everything you could ask for in a 1.5-mile facility. It's got the seams. It's got the slick spots. Some say it has the grippy spots. We're about to find out as Dynasty Racing League's best go to war here under the lights in prime time. And as always, you know I'm fired up.
Yes, sir. Always fired up is Matt Metler. He's the phoenix of Sim Racing Media because anytime he's not fired up, he just goes into ashes and fires himself up once again. Matt Metler never lacking the energy. But speaking of lacking, there's a couple of bigger names that we're not seeing here right now. JP, not in the race quite yet. Gonna see if he jumps up in here. We've also got, well, it's tough to see who's missing when you're looking at a list of who's here. But I know JP isn't here.
Yeah, I hear JP's going for that Hollywood red carpet entrance. That's what my sources are telling me. So look for a late prime time arrival from JP before we kick this one off.
And unfortunately, my mistake as the producer jumping in as a practice. You know, I tried to pull the Matt Metler, do the practice here. I joined in as a driver, so I can't give you guys the qualifying. So apologies for that, but let's break the fourth wall and jump back to some practice highlights.
You know what? I just learned something there. So, hey, that's a great learning opportunity there. Now I know because I had no idea that would happen, bud.
I didn't either, so you know, we do a little bit of learning here and there on the go, but we always try to bring you guys the best show. And tell you what, now that we know that, won't make that mistake again. But right now we get to watch Brandon Brorby putting down some practice laps. We've got 2 minutes left in qualifying. Brorby's actually quickest in qualifying right now. Thomas Harmon in second, Austin Collins, and Matt Burgess. We do apologize for the confusion here, but we'll bring you guys some qualifying action, or some practice action here, and let you know what the grid results are. Brandon Brorby, one of the quickest out here in practice, and Matt, like you were saying,
you know, just to go off of what you were saying, yeah, that 45 really starting to really benefit and carry that momentum from week to week. Solidly, you know, P1 in practice continues to lead in qualifying. But one thing I'm noticing, I mean, these cars are loose and they're twitchy, even on sticker tires. You know, what happens when we're 10 laps into this run or 20 laps? You think this is going to be an absolute handful for these competitors tonight?
Absolutely, I think it is. It's going to be a handful as these guys cross over the seams. We see Brorby going over that seam in turns 1 and 2. I think once you cross over those, it's going to get stupid loose for these guys. It's going to get tough to control it. Really going to have to feather the throttle to try to keep it straight coming up off of these corners. And, well, I tell you what, that's what makes these guys some of the best to watch on Saturday nights. Dynasty Racing League and these 900 horsepower Gen 4 race cars. They keep it straight. They keep it away from each other.
Yeah, if you iRacing and you haven't had a chance to jump into this race car, I know it looks like the ARCA car, but I promise you, once you drop that thing into first gear and you ever decide to put your foot down inside of that cockpit, you better hold on because you are going places. This car is like a bucking bronco trying to throw you off each and every opportunity it has, and you have to manhandle this car every single step of the way. But that's also what makes it so exhilarating and so exciting. And like you said, these are some of the best in this car, and it's certainly a privilege to be up here watching them do what they do each and every Saturday night.
Yeah, absolutely it is. These guys put on a hell of a show, and to keep it clean through and through. We love to see that. We also love to see drama and chaos. So, you know, I don't really know how to throw those two together. These guys don't bring us the drama and chaos. They bring us strategy. They bring us a lot of really cool racing aspects of it. And I don't mean to, you know, when I say that, I'm not trying to defer or say anything bad about this league because they don't have these types of, you know, dramas. I'm also a sucker for these races playing out in terms of long-term strategy, and that's a lot of what we see. Thomas Harmon, he's going to start in third. He's been a big-time beneficiary, rather, of the strategy playing out. Matt Burgess, we saw him get across the line first last time in Dover, week before that in Sonoma. We've also got Austin Collins ready to start up here in fourth. Taylor Butcher Benjamin in second. Looks like we're going to have 12 drivers ready to rock and roll here. We're going to go ahead and give you the grid. Brandon Brorby on the pole. Taylor Butcher Benjamin, then Thomas Harmon, Austin Collins, BJ O'Leary, Matt Burgess, Jacob Gladulich, Matt Sisler, David Wright, Richard Springer, Dave Acacia and Chris Vander rounding out the field. Vander Platz making a bit of a return here. PJ O'Leary also making a bit of a return. Haven't seen him in the last couple of weeks, but glad to see him out here rocking that Kevin Harvick number 29 Good Wrench throwback.
Yeah, I'm going to shift gears really quick. I can't wait to watch Kevin Harvick run that 29 car one more time before he hangs it up. That's really going to be something I look forward to as these competitors get set down on the grid, get ready to roll off here in Chicagoland. And how about that 45 Brandon Broby winning the Screamer Lap of the Race Award there, gets the pole. Taylor Butcher Benjamin in the 68. Look at that. I mean, right where you expect the 8 and the 68 to be. Like, getting back to what you were saying, there's drama, but it's not Clinton Boyer and Jeff Gordon type drama. It's the drama of watching these two make calculated decisions on the racetrack. It's almost like a chess match out there, but they put on such a show and such a performance. You forget that it doesn't have the WWE and that type of effect to it. But just watching two guys, or outside of that, everyone in the series, how they perform and how they calculate the strategery, that's really what you come to love and appreciate about this series.
Yeah, it is. We've seen a lot of long runs. We've seen differences between 1 and 2 stop types of races. Who knows what we're going to see here, though, as the green flag is getting ready to drop. I tell you what, we've got ourselves 133 laps of fantastic racing action. 12 of the greatest drivers to hit Saturday nights on the iRacing circuit, ready to rock and rumble, and the green flag is out. Brandon Broby gets a good restart, but Taylor Butcher Benjamin gets a better one. Here comes Thomas Harmon down to the inside, making it 3 wide for the race lead in the first turn.
Yeah, 3 wide for the race lead already. Wasted no time here in Chicagoland. Is everything freezes on my end? Take it away, buddy, while I troubleshoot this.
Side by side, Thomas Harmon, Taylor Butcher Benjamin for second. Brandon Broby able to get away by about 3, now 4 car lengths through turns 3 and 4. But the top side working out for Taylor Butcher Benjamin. Clears Thomas Harmon for second. Harmon right up on that back bumper, less than half a car length away from the back bumper of Taylor Butcher Benjamin right now. We've got 4th place PJ O'Leary trying to find a way to the back bumper and maybe past the back bumper of Thomas Harmon. Meanwhile, as we look a little bit further back, David Wright just made the pass on on Richard Springer. Both of these guys have moved up since the start of the race. Matt Sisler has lost multiple positions at this point. He sits in last as of right now. It doesn't look like there's any damage on the car, so unsure of what is bringing that problem to Matt Sisler. Brandon Broby continues to lead after 2 laps here at Chicagoland. Taylor Butcher Benjamin in second, Thomas Harmon third, PJ O'Leary fourth, and Matt Burgess in fifth.
Well said, and like you said, some big movers already here early on. We got a bunch of guys up a spot or two. Like, looking at the 21, he's already up at the top shelf where Mama hides the cookies. Look at the run he gets off the top there as he drafts down now, setting the sights in on the 42. David Wright picking up that draft as we go on board, looking out the back bumper at that 21 as he has that Ford Fusion dialed up. It is screaming, ripping the top. And obviously, David Wright noticed he was getting a heck of a run up there, so he jumps up top side as well. Now we go look at the front view as these guys are all mostly single file. But a couple early takers committed to get that top worked in, and I think that's going to be the key to the long runs, getting able to work that top side and be effective up there.
Yeah, you want to find the way to run as quick as you possibly can, but use the least amount of rubber on those tires. And Brandon Broby, he ran the most laps in practice, was the quickest. He may have it figured out here today at Chicago, but Taylor Butcher Benjamin, we've seen how fast he's been week in and week out. That's a tough guy to keep behind you. Meanwhile, Thomas Harmon sitting in 3rd place, still sits at 42, trying to get up to tie Wade. I keep wanting to call him Wade Buford because of Jade Buford in the 48 car, but his name is Wade.
I do this. I
It's
agree.
something
I
else.
almost call him that as well. And as he's getting that data dug up for us here, Thomas Harmon, as he was saying, 1 win away from the all-time win record here throughout the series. You know it would mean a lot to him to get it done here at Chicagoland as he sits solidly in that 3rd place and final podium position. And if you guys are new to the series, this is all part of the script. The 8, the 68, Austin Collins in the 1. They like to pull the Houdini. Where did they come from at the end and just capitalize and take it to the bank as we get to the the shorter side of the stick there as far as the laps are concerned. As they start to wind down, that's when you really see them pour on the coal and charge to the front. Some great racing going on in the back. Go back up to the front of the field. The 45 there, Brandon Broby still out in front, carrying the torch here tonight. Doing a great job so far. And like you were saying, Bud, ran the most laps in practice. Practice makes perfect. And the 45 is putting that to the test right now and leading the way here early as we're working lap 9 right now. Side by side, you got the 42 are right on the bottom. Richard Springer on the top. Oh, it's going to get close coming off the corner there as David Wright slid up the racetrack, had to catch it. And they're still side by side, drag racing down the backstretch as they go into the turns 3 and 4 complex. And that's going to allow the 17 of David Arcadia to come into the picture.
Yeah, David K should try to figure out which lane is going to move. And now David Wright gets out in front of Richard Springer. Springer seems to be a little bit quicker, but Wright running a little bit better of a line. The top side, I think, is going to be better in 1 and 2. But once you go through 3 and 4, there's a lot of bumps up in there that become a lot more prominent on the top side versus the inside. It's going to be tough as you see that 21 get up into the corner. It's tough to see on the nose cam, so maybe next time we'll try in the cockpit camera for the 21 if he continues on that top side. But here comes Dave Acacia down to the inside in 10th place, trying to take 9th away. Matt Sisler has pulled to the pits, likely facing some sort of issue. We saw him slow at the beginning of the race, and a tough break there for Matt Sisler. Brandon Broby continues to lead. He's got half a second over Taylor Butcher Benjamin. Thomas Harmon sits about 2.5 seconds behind the race lead. We've seen Thomas do the tire saving strategy all season, so it'll be interesting to see if that's what he's working on right now. But these guys towards the 9th, 10th, and 11th place are not giving an inch. They are still racing hard side by side for a couple moments there. Now 3 in a row going into turn 3.
Got a breaking report here from our in-race pit road reporter, Jimmy Agenfeldner. Matt Sisler doing a scheduled start and park due to a outside commitment that he could not miss tonight. No issues with the race car. That was a part of the plan. Just start the race, get as many points as they could, bring it back down, shut it down. So no more sizzle time, Everham action tonight, as he had to pull it down pit road and call it quits this evening here from Chicagoland. As we go back to the front, Richard Springer continues and is determined to get that top line worked in. I mean, you want to talk about dedication. He has not faltered as he comes back down in line right now, only to get the benefit of that draft, which is ever so important here, especially in these cars, this racetrack, as he continues to fight and claw and figure out the best way to attack the top line here in Chicago. Brandon Broby, all business in that 45 out in front, who continues to lead the way. No change inside the top 3. The 8 of Butcher Benjamin, Thomas the Hammer Harmon, PJ O'Leary, and Matt Burgess round out your top 5, up 1 position from where they started since the drop of the green flag, as we're now working lap 15.
15 laps gonna be complete this time by Brandon Broby. He still hasn't been able to pull much of a gap on Taylor Butcher Benjamin. Taylor sitting about a half a second behind your race leader right now. And I tell you what, these guys are dogfighting right now. 15 laps complete. This is where the tires are really starting to wear in. I found after 10 laps, you're really losing almost about a second. 15 laps into into this race. I mean, they're obviously not trying to put down qualifying laps in the race, but they're already a second off of their quickest lap of the race. Qualifying times much quicker, getting down into the 30.4 range. But these guys, fastest lap of the race so far goes to your race leader, Brandon Verby, with a 30.80. Last lap around was a 30.88. And I tell you what, Taylor Butcher Benjamin last time around a 30.89. Not much time differential between your top two. And I tell you what, that gives us a lot to unpack here. What are these guys doing different from each other? Riding on board with Taylor Butcher Benjamin, you see a little bit wider of an entry out of Brandon Verby, but a loose exit. That's going to give an advantage to the 8 car of Taylor Butcher Benjamin. Looking a little bit further back, Dave Acacia still trying to work on Richard Springer as Springer tries to find a way around the 42. David Wright. These guys are absolutely on fire, all over each other. Here comes Dave Acacia back down to the inside.
And see, that's the byproduct of this racetrack and this Gen 4 race car. The minute Springer tries to go to form a plan and put it into action and get around the 42 or right, that immediately allows the 17 machine of Dave Akeda to come back into the picture as it drastically slows down both cars as you are dogfighting around this mile-and-a-half oval. Richard Springer, he's gonna re-engage again back to the top shelf where Mama hides the cookies once again.
This time he tries a bit more of a middle line to try to use that momentum, get down a little bit further. Might have been defensive on Dave Acacia, but Matt, to your point, lost the point. Sorry about that.
No, not a problem. And I agree with you. I think that was had to abort his attack to defend against the 17. Is now he's really turning up the afterburner, trying to dial up the pressure on the back of Springer. It's effectively a 3-way battle right now for that 8th place position. David Wright has it, but Richard Springer and David Kada have other plans, as you could pitch a tent over these boys at well over 180 miles an hour.
Yeah, Matt, and to, I guess, remember what I was going to say there, you talk about these guys getting side by side, how much it slows them down. We're 20 laps into this race. They've already lost 10 seconds to the race lead. Brandon Verby sits at 9.5 seconds over these guys right now. And I tell you what, these guys do not want to be losing that much time with the race lead because, I mean, the mathematics play out. 40 laps in, you'd be going almost a lap down at this point with how the tires are going to wear out. Definitely don't want to lose time at racing against other guys, but you want to take every position you can. And I tell you what, Richard Springer right now is sitting behind David Wright. He firmly believes he's quicker, and if he got out in front, he'd be able to gap him, but he's just unable to get around him, and David Wright might be doing just enough to keep him back there until the tires set into a way that he likes them to be, so he can continue to gap him. But while we're looking at this battle, we've got Jacob Glajulich, the Drift King, not too far in front of him. Looks to be falling into the clutches of this 3-way, almost 4-way battle we've got as Chris Vanderplatz gets back up to the back tail end of this 3-car draft we've got in front of him.
Yeah, and as these laps start to wind down, we're going to start to get a little bit of insight into these playing cards, the strategies of these drivers over the course of this race. Is Brandon Verby running as hard as he possibly can right now? Is he burning his stuff up too soon? Is Taylor Butcher Benjamin playing reindeer games out there and just doing what he has to do to hang with him? Just lurk off the back of the 45, wait for him to sense he's in trouble, and just takes off and puts it on a flyer and jumps up there and takes the lead and not look back. Similar for the Hammer Harmon. We're about to find out here as there's a lot of unknowns right now. We typically never see this big of a lead inside of 24 laps between the leader and the rest of the field, let alone second and third place. So this may be some time to sound the alarm and change up the strategy. But these drivers so consistent in their racecraft, we
Hey,
just
Matt.
don't.
I don't mean to alarm you, but Thomas Harmon has gained half a second in the last 2 laps. He was 3/10 quicker last lap around, and then, well, 2 laps ago, and then last time around he was 2/10 quicker. It was a 31:11 compared to a 31:29. Brandon Brobby repeated his lap of 31:29 that last time around. Thomas Harmon a 31:17. We're going to see what they do across the line this time. A 32:31 rather for Brandon Brobby. A 32:30 out of Thomas Harmon. So he's still just over 3 seconds behind Brandon Brobby. Taylor Butcher Benjamin has not lost anything since the drop of the green flag. Brobby was able to get about a 3, 4, 5 car length gap. Half a second over the 8 car. But Taylor Butcher Benjamin has not let him go, has not let him get away. Still half a second, this time around 4/10 of a second, a 32:34. We're going to go ahead and, yeah, we already got the last laps up there. And see, a 3.99 for Brobby to a 3.40, a 3.42 for Harmon. Just a touch quicker for second and third place over the race leader, Brandon Brobby. We've still got over 100 laps to go, man.
And to your point, I mean, Butcher Benjamin and Thomas Harmon ran the same lap, identical lap times that last time by a 32:34 to a 32:34. That's how close, that's how even it is out there on the racetrack. But I have this sixth sense. Something tells me the way that Taylor Butcher Benjamin has basically stayed static since the drop of the green flag, just inside of a half a second behind the back of that 45 machine, tells me that this is calculated and he's going to strike and click on the afterburner here. I mean, how many times have we seen this is what the 8 does so well? But even outside of that, I mean, what a great job in the early going here by the 45 of Brandon Brobby. Really starting to pour on some muscle and flex as we get later on into the season. You know, what a run for this guy so far. Fastest in practice, started on the pole, and continues to lead every lap so far as we're now approaching 30 laps in the books in prime time right here on SRM. If you guys are new to the channel, join the family. Easiest way to do that, smash the like button, ring the bell. Come home to 7 days of high-flying sim racing action, just like you're seeing right now. Super Tuesdays, you like different types of racing action, we got you covered. 4 to 5 broadcasts a night on Tuesday. So get your Tuesday fixer right here with us. Let's look at the 17 now as he continues now to inch closer in out of the back of Springer.
And DK is falling back to this battle as well.
Yeah, the 7, the 14, oh, there was a
David Wright with that big move down to the bottom.
I don't know if that was a move or if that was a oh my God moment. That could have been disastrous there. You see how close they are.
Yeah, Springer to the top side of Wright now coming up off of turn number 2. Gets up to the quarter panel, a little bit of side draft. They're almost dead even. But 3 and 4, it's so much tougher to hold on to that top side. Riding on board with the 21, just to see how much to the right. And you see this is the offset that these guys run. It's turned to the right, and the positioning on the simulator doesn't do any justice because the hands are designed to do a certain thing in a certain way. But like, you can see how much he's turning to the right, how much he's keeping that wheel straight. This right here is keeping the wheel straight. He's turning it down in. Gotta get it pointed. Going over those bumps. Now he's back to the right, almost straightened on the wheel. Richard Springer now into 8th place, trying to get around DK. He's finally able to get around David Wright. We were riding on board with him as that happened.
Richard he was Springer able
to the top of DK.
Yeah, Springer finally sprung himself around Wright, which literally took him 32 laps of this race. And now Springer, just as you predicted, able to clear that car and now sets his sights on. But we go back here now to the 29 and the 68. PJ O'Leary looking to dial up some pressure on the back of the hammer in the 68. Thomas gives him the spot, understands the bigger picture here in play. It's only lap 34. I'm not going to tear my race car up, destroy my tires. Understands the bigger picture, and that's exactly what a veteran race car driver does out there on the racetrack. Is he gives the 29 the spot. PJ O'Leary now up 2 spots inside the top 3 as Harmon continues to follow in close proximity.
Yeah, we know Thomas Harmon obviously better on these later runs, but let's give a shout out to PJ O'Leary chasing down
Heck
Thomas.
yeah.
30 laps into this thing. We've got 100 laps to go. Still a long way to go in this race, but PJ O'Leary, we saw him a couple times earlier on in the season. Took a little bit of a unannounced hiatus. Just wasn't able to make the races. Is what it is. That's how these things go. But PJ O'Leary, he comes back like he never left. He's dropping the hammer as soon as he gets on the racetrack. Sitting in 3rd place right now, 2 spots up from where he started. Not quite our biggest mover. Richard Springer, we saw him making those moves a couple of laps ago. Is our biggest mover, but excellent drive from PJ O'Leary. Coming back out here like he never missed a beat. And I tell you what, getting around a guy like Thomas Harmon, who's sitting next to Wade Hustad, did look it up, figured it out. Sitting in 2nd place in terms of the all-time wins list in the Dynasty Racing League. This is their 10th anniversary, by the way. So, a lot of drivers have come and gone. 43 wins. That is a huge accomplishment. 42 for Thomas Harmon. Looking to tie the record as soon as he possibly can.
Now you guys know at home and understand why it's such a big deal for the 29 to go up there and take the spot and earn it from Thomas Harmon, because Harmon is just that good. 10 years, 43 wins. He has 42. I mean, you can't really, if you're a statistical type of person, all about the stats, you can't argue with those numbers. That's one stout race car driver. But PJ O'Leary has one fast rocket ship here tonight. Like you were saying, he is up to 3rd. Last time by, I ran a 32.51. That's faster than the leader, Brandon Broby, who was at a 32.53.
Yeah, we'll see how these laps continue to play out. About a 1/10.5 quicker that time around. Taylor Butcher Benjamin, 2/10 off of the race lead. He's starting to lose that time that he's been able to keep with Brandon Broby. It's 0.8 of a second right now. We've seen it as close as 4. But we'll see what these guys got as they keep coming across the line. Might have had Taylor Butcher Benjamin with a moment there across the line. It's 0.02 of a second difference. Advantage to Brandon Broby. 32.54 to a 32.56. We'll go ahead and give you guys the gap once again here. Definitely appreciate everybody who's jumped up into the racing stream here. As Matt said, we've got fantastic racing 7 nights a week. Super Tuesday happens. We got 5 to 6 shows that night. So no matter what you're looking to watch, we've got something that will tickle your fancy. If you're new to the channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe. Hit the bell so you never miss a race. And also, go ahead, drop in the chat who your favorite driver is. We'll go ahead and get them some screen time, talk about them, learn about them. Matt Sisler has jumped in the chat, basically reiterating what your pit reporter had told you, Matt. It's a voluntary start and park. Had to get some work done. Had enough of a break at work to come home and start the race. He's here for points. Matt Sisler out of the race and shows up, gets the points. Brandon Broby, however, is into the pits. Lap number 40. From the race lead, looks like it's going to be a 2-stopper for most of these guys.
2-stopper, and they bet you they'd want to take more tires if they had the opportunity, as it was everything he could to hold on to that race car, as he has it stopped in the box. See the Jackman going to work. Right side of the tires coming up. You're going to take 2 Kansas Sunoco Racing Fuel, 4 Dr. Feelgood's Jack will drop it. He'll be underway. And now, guess who goes to the lead as we see the 21 of Richard Springer not going to get caught off guard here and lose the sequence here. That's going to be critical here this evening, I believe, as Taylor Butcher Benjamin continues to charge on.
He's coming in this time. Here comes Taylor Butcher Benjamin. PJ O'Leary's going to follow him. Thomas Harmon stays out. Going to go with the wide angle here. We can see Matt Burgess came into the pits as well. Austin Collins, DK, David Wright, they're all staying out. Austin Collins actually has already made a pit stop. He's made a pit stop on lap 34.
Did you see how fast everyone scrambled for pit road once the first car came down? I mean, that tells you right there just how tough it was for those drivers to hang on to those race cars. But there's
Thomas Harmon stays out.
Yep, Thomas Harmon, no tires, no problem. I'm going to stay here, do my long game strategy. I got this. You're going to have to beat me at my game. Now watch the 45 here of Brandon Broby on fresh Dr. Feelgoods. He's going to just missile past the 68. Like he's got 200 extra horsepower. That's what my broadcast partner was talking about, the difference in fall off between new sticker tires and what's currently on that 68. It's night and day difference. As you can see, he is just, I mean, off of a flyer right now, just checked out, gone, as Thomas the Hammer Harmon continues to play his game and force his chess match on the field.
Here comes David Wright, Thomas Harmon into the pits. And I tell you what, I hate to interrupt you there, but Brandon Broby just put down his fastest lap of the race with a 30.74. This time around, he was fastest in the first half. We'll see if he can improve in the second half across the line. He does. That's going to be the fastest lap of the race with a 35.4. Insanely quick. He's second place behind Austin Collins, who pitted 7 laps before Brandon Broby did. It's a 3.8 second gap to Austin Collins right now. But Brandon Broby with a 35.4 fastest lap of the race. Last time around, it was a 31.41 for Austin Collins. He's really starting to deal with some of that tire fall off, while Brandon Broby is taking advantage of the brand new sticker tires, those Dr. Feelgoods you love to talk about. Well, Austin Collins is dealing with those Dr. Feelbads. It's less than 3 seconds of a gap between first and second right now.
I mean, I don't believe it. I think Broby bribed someone over at SpaceX for that new heavy rocket engine because he just I can't believe that lap he just put down. That is incredible.
Taylor Butcher Benjamin is 9 seconds behind Brandon Broby. Took the earlier pit stop a lap earlier. Things did not apparently go the way that he had planned. PJ O'Leary sitting just behind Taylor Butcher Benjamin by less than a second. Richard Springer trying to get around Matt Burgess under fire from Thomas Harmon.
Yeah, this is a hornet's nest right here on the racetrack. Thomas Harmon sensing it is time to turn the wick up early, perhaps. As you see him down to the inside of the 21. He's going to take it all the way, eaten down low on the white line. How low can you go, Harmon? But here comes the 21. The momentum. Oh, the 12 almost acted as a pick. He had to get way out of it to avoid catastrophe. There is a almost touch. Phenomenal racing up here just outside the top 5 as they are scrambling and putting on an epic show for 6th.
Yeah, these guys know that a caution is not likely. Every spot is going to be just as important as the next, as Thomas Harmon works down to the inside of Richard Springer, but Springer working that top side, still there. Harmon has the draft of Burgess, might be able to get him cleared, getting down into 1. Looks like he is. He's going to be able to get cleared of the 21 on the top side. But here comes Richard Springer fighting back up on the outside.
Oh, get skinny.
Yeah, he got up into the wall. He's still in the wall.
Yeah, Richard Springer in this car here.
He's sideways there.
To the flat, back on the banking. Incredible save by the 21 as the wall sucks that car in, will not release, had to put a ton of wheel into it. Almost lost it. The banking from the flat, the transition, no problem. 45 is alive and still continues to march forward. But that may just run him the Tide Ride of the Race Award. or a tide stick at the end of this one, because I guarantee you it went from 50 to 2,000 inside that race car over the sequence of 15 seconds. Great heads up driving by the 45, but now he's got his work cut out for
Wrong
him.
camera, man. They're 45's leading the race there. We saw that big save, but switched it over to Brandon Burby, who took over the lead over Austin Collins and has continued to gap him. It's now 1.2, 1.3 seconds. PJ O'Leary able to get around Taylor Butcher Benjamin, takes away the third spot. But he's 9.5 seconds behind Austin Collins right now. This is a long gap to try to overcome. Dave Acacia back behind Matt Burgess here, looking to the top side through turns 1 and 2. Matt Burgess slides up right up in front of him. 17 has to let up off of the gas to not run into the back bumper there, and slows both of these guys down just a little bit. Here comes Acacia back up to the top side of Burgess.
Yeah, look at these guys just modulate the line, and you can see how that car really skews out going through the corner. It's a controlled slide, and you see how it makes it so much more difficult. This race car really loves to skate around. You have to be comfortable being loose and letting that car walk up the racetrack, but it really makes it really difficult to pass here. As you can see, the 17 is all over the back of the 12 like mom spaghetti, but just cannot seem to thread the needle and find a way by the 12 of Matt Burgess.
Definitely a tough pass to make over Matt Burgess, who's sitting here. He's holding on to the momentum after winning at Sonoma, winning at Dover, sitting just outside of the top 5 right now, but he's got a lot of momentum on his side. He's going to make it tough to pass, but here comes Dave Acacia down to the inside, trying it a different line. He slides up just a bit, but I tell you what, that bottom side, you hit less bumps. I think it's going to work through 3 and 4. Matt Burgess still strong on the top side, but stays way wide. Looks like he's kind of trying to let him go.
And while this is going on, look who came back into the picture. Richard Springer, who had a wild moment, had a date with the wall, went all the way to the infield, is now on the top shelf, sending it by the 12, and continues to just let it rip on the top of the racetrack as he's going to clear the 12, and now he has dialed in a laser on the back of that 17. Can he go up there now and challenge the 17 of Dave Arcada for that 6th place position? We're about to find out as he dials it back up top some more. Look at the car step out as he is in it to win it, and that loud pedal, and he is flying right now, right up onto the back of the 17.
Look at him working this top side, getting right up next to the wall, coming up into the entry. Gets a bit of a run coming up off of turn number 4. He's going to stay to the top side, try to work a little bit of side draft. Not quite enough down the front straightaway. Obviously, it's curved. Chicagoland has a bit of a curved back straightaway, though. Up on the top side, here comes Richard Springer making the pass up on top of Dave Acacia.
Man, Springer is eating like a Mongolian at an all-you-can-eat buffet. Look at this man go.
I don't know why you got to bring up Mongolians, because if you bring up an all-you-can-eat buffet, buddy, I am eating. And that is what Richard Springer is doing compared to Matt Burgess. Dave Acacia makes 2 passes in just a few laps, and now is looking forward to Thomas Harmon. Thomas Harmon, 42 wins in the Dynasty Racing League, 10 years, 42 wins. I tell you what, that's a phenomenal stat. He sits in 2nd place in the all-time wins list. Right now, he's in 5th place. In Thomas Harmon's standards, that's a struggle. He's not where he wants to be. He's sitting 15 seconds almost off of the race lead, just a hair quicker than Brandon Burby every time around. But it's not quite enough right now. We're not quite to the halfway point. Dave Acacia and now Matt Burgess going side by side with a big battle coming up off of turn 2. Matt Burgess trying to work the inside of Dave Acacia, but that 17 is just quick enough to keep him back there. We'll see how 3 and 4 works. Burgess tries the slider, Down to the bottom, maybe looking for a crossover, comes the 17, but got a little bit loose, had to let up off of the throttle. Matt Burgess takes that spot. That's 7th place for the 12 car.
Yeah, that was a beautiful slide ride by the 12. Combo that with the 17 having to burp the throttle as they are still going at it. Oh, Springer's in the wall again. And another save from Richard Springer.
Yeah, keeps it straight. Seems like that car is really struggling right now, though. Tough to handle after that wall contact. We'll see what he's got underneath the chassis there. It's a much more durable car than, say, the trucks or the Xfinity cars based on the damage model. But
I mean, the way he was eating like you, and that's a compliment. I mean, I don't know how there's any Goodyear left on that race car. The way he was just letting it eat on the top side of the racetrack. I mean, no surprise he was in the wall there because those tires have to be absolutely smoked, or you would think from the type of speeds he was carrying, just ripping the top of the racetrack. But there he is, no quit. Go back up front, the 45, Brandon Broby continues to show the way here with almost a 4.5 second lead over AC Austin Collins in the one machine, who was up 2 spots.
yes, sir. We appreciate everybody who's tuning in right now. We've got 9 viewers, what my YouTube tells me. That's super cool stuff. Go ahead and drop who your favorite driver is in the chat. We got Stan Kuligowski saying, Brandon, my man. Well, I tell you what, your man is leading this race. He's doing a fantastic job. Like Matt said, he's got over 4.5 seconds over 2nd place right now. A couple guys might be a little bit quicker, but Brandon Broby doing a fantastic job. We're going to go ahead, step away, take a quick break here, pay some bills or something like that. But we'll be right back as we approach this halfway point. Back live here at Chicagoland. 70 laps in the books. 63 to go. Brandon Barbie continues to lead. He's got just over 5 seconds over Austin Collins. Collins coming into the pits. Just past the halfway point. Looks like he's going to try for a 3-stopper.
A 3-stopper? That might not be a bad plan of attack.
Oh,
correct.
Sorry.
It's
I messed
not a
up.
problem,
It's a
bud.
3-stopper.
Well, we know one thing. He's got to come for a stopper as soon as he gets to his pit box, or that is no bueno, as he locks it down in the box, screaming for tires on that one machine, as this track is just cheese gratering the living daylights out of these Goodyear Eagles. PJ O'Leary, though, continues to impress in the 29 ride.
Yes, sir. He does 0.2 quicker than your race leader that last time around. This time around, 0.1 quicker. PJ O'Leary, he's quicker. He's less than 7 seconds behind the race leader. We talked about him before. He was over 10 seconds back before. So he's made a really good recovery here. But tell you what, Brandon Barbie has been virtually untouchable since the drop of the green flag. Got himself a phenomenal initial start. Got himself 3, 4, 5 car lengths on the initial start. And just hasn't looked back since. Last couple times around, he hasn't been the quickest car on the track, but with a gap as big as 6.5 to 7 seconds, you're not too worried about it now, are you, Matt?
No, I mean, Broby has been the man with the plan from Chicagoland since the green flag has dropped. I mean, this is incredible watching what this man is doing. I mean, taking into circumstances who you're racing against in this field, the performance that we've seen from the 8, the 68, the one of Austin Collins this season, and the 45 said, you know what, today is my day. The nighttime is the right time for me to go out there and make a statement and possibly get a win here tonight. It'd be huge for that man. And so far, all signs are pointing to that. But how about the 21, though? I mean, Richard Springer looking like Jimmy Spencer, Mr. Excitement. Because every time we cut to this guy, it has been wild on the racetrack as he's starting to get ready to flip the switch on again, turn it back to Boyle as he's running back down the 17. And we know what happened the last time these two guys got at it. It was an all-out slugfest, absolutely high-flying action. And here we go one more time. He sends it into the top shelf.
Into the wall goes Richard Springer once again. It doesn't seem to have hurt him. I mean, not too much. He lost a car length there compared to Dave Acacia, but man, Richard Springer getting up into the wall once again. This guy, like you said, has been Mr. Excitement. He is flirting with the top side, flirting with the wall all day. He's gotten up into it a couple of times, had himself some great recoveries after hitting it. We saw that last one before this. Super sideways through the corner after hitting the wall, but he is working the top side, trying to get around Dave Acacia. And I tell you what, this time around, Dave Acacia big time loose. Richard Springer with a big run up top. He's going to complete that pass and get a couple of car lengths as Dave Acacia has to recover after that slide. Put Richard Springer up into 6th place. Matt Burgess driving away from these two, but Richard Springer, I tell you what, he's going to have his sights set on that number 12 machine as he is now clear of the 17. He's got a little bit of fresh air in front of him. Might be able to try to chase down that 12. But meanwhile, the lead continues for Brandon Barbie. PJ O'Leary, that last time around, almost half a second quicker. It's 6.16 seconds across the line. You can see the gap from the leaders scrolling across the top of your screen there. It's 6.2, 6.3. Now it's dropping back down to 6.1, 6.0. PJ O'Leary is putting on a hell of a performance here in that number 29 Kevin Harvick throwback machine. Tell you what, we ride on board with him as he's got some lapped cars between him and Brandon Barbie. Barbie able to get through those guys. You see 3 lapped cars between them. That's Austin Collins, Chris Vander Plaat, and David Wright in the 42.
Trying to navigate through this lap traffic in this car at this track with these race conditions, that's like trying to pilot a ship through a Category 5 hurricane. To put it into perspective, I mean, you have the side forces, the aero, everything that comes into play. And on top of that, these cars are just bad loose right now. As you see on the top side, the one Austin Collins, he has fresh tires. He's going to, wow, he's going to get stuck behind.
Yeah, the 21's got fresher tires too, but not quite as fresh as Austin Collins, as you see him able to get around the 21 right there. That's Chris Vanderplaats being shown as the 10 on our timing and scoring, but you're seeing him as the 21. Apologies for any confusion with that, but I tell you what, Brandon Burby has 5 seconds between him and PJ O'Leary. Came in on lap 41 compared to PJ's lap 43. He's got to be looking at a pit stop within the next lap or two, right, Matt?
You would have to think. I mean, as much as a big of a lead that he has right now, even though that is starting to fall by the wayside as he continues to just kill those good years into oblivion. Hopefully he'll be coming by here the next lap or so. Is even with this type of a lead he has out there on the racetrack, you're giving up so much time and speed. I mean, just look at the difference. I mean, you're picking up almost 2 seconds the minute you come down pit road and get hooked up with some fresh sticky biscuits when you come out onto the racetrack, and that is a ton. And you just don't want to make a mistake of getting caught out there in front too long, especially when you've dominated every single phase of the race thus far.
I'm going to just go ahead and bring up the top five's last lap time, and you can see almost half a second difference between Brorby and O'Leary. This time around 32.79 for Brorby. Across the line 32.45 for O'Leary. So still quicker. It's 4 seconds of a gap, but Richard Springer, he's coming into the pits, try to take that earlier undercut. Maybe make a pass or two against Thomas Harmon, Matt Burgess. First of the lead lap drivers to come in, make that pit stop. Brandon Burby in this time. PJ O'Leary's going to follow him in.
Here come the leaders down pit road.
TBB staying out. Matt, bring it down.
The 45 leads the way down pit road. Then you have the 29 of PJ O'Leary in tow. As he now eyes up his pit box, he has it in sight. Don't want to make a mistake here as you want a clean execution and stop inside the box. You don't want to go over the line, have to put it in reverse before the crew can go to work. That is costly time. Great stop in the box. Team's going to go to work and see the jack go up. Those tires are going to come off. As Cliff likes to say, sloppy rubber. Well, he's going to have some fresh rubber on that 45 ride now. As the jack drops, he is down and underway. The 29 still in the box.
Looks like he's serving a penalty.
29 speeding on pit road. I knew one of them was going to get caught. They were carrying way too much steam. Could it be a costly mistake?
Absolutely. These guys run way too clean for you to have a green flag mistake like that. 40 seconds of a hold on the pits. That's going to put you down a lap even through the pit cycle. That's going to go ahead and bring PJ O'Leary down a lap. He's going to be out of the race in terms of race winning contention without a caution flag, but PJ O'Leary still sitting on the pit lane, just now able to get going. Tough break for that 29 machine after running so strong. Taylor Butcher Benjamin continues to lead the race, though. He's holding on to a 1.5 second gap over Thomas Harmon. Here comes Brandon Burby, about to get around Harmon, trying to unlap himself.
I mean, the speed difference is just incredible. I mean, I know we've seen this a couple times now, and still, it is just jaw-dropping to watch the 45 just... It looks like it's an Indy car out there on the racetrack compared to a stock car at times. It's just that big of a difference. Is he's just able to dart and dive and make it stick and rip on the bottom. But that's the magic of 4 tires here in this race car. And that's why when you see, one car in the lead lap dart to pit road, let alone the leader, it's a mad scramble because that is all kinds of time you are going to lose in a predominantly a series that has a history of going caution-free. And that's why that penalty, as Liam was saying, so huge, so critical, that just crushes your lungs and just sucks all the air out of you. But that man had a great run going. That crew chief needs to get up there, be the voice of reason to that driver, get him back in the game, because it is far from over yet. Miracles can happen. I won an all-star race this week. Thank you very much. If I can win the all-star race, PJ O'Leary can come back and get it done here. That's what we love about racing. It's never over until it's over. But darn, the 45 of Broby has just been next level here in Chicago. I mean, look at this man. He is just out there ripping the bottom.
Matt, I wanna bring up a point. Brandon made a pit stop on 41 and 83. We've got Taylor Butcher Benjamin trying to hold on to the race lead. Pitted at 43, trying to stay out. But if Brandon was going to go to the end, he would have to put 50 laps on his fuel and tires. Is that going to be too much? Is somebody like Taylor Butcher Benjamin, Matt Burgess maybe, who's coming into the pits now, somebody who tries the overcut, is that going to play into their hands? Is it going to be a beneficiary for them? I guess we'll find out, though, as Taylor Butcher Benjamin comes into the pits. Thomas Harmon follows him down. These guys are going to lose a considerable amount of time to Brandon Broby. Are they going to be able to get it back over the course of the next 43 laps?
Well, this race has really shaken the ecosystem within the normal trends of the race that we have seen over the course of this season. And that all starts with the catalyst right there in the 45 of Brandon Broby and how he has been performing out there on the racetrack. Any other given Sunday, you know Thomas Harmon, Taylor Butcher Benjamin, Austin Collins and company, they're always a sure bet if the long ball comes into play. They are just so dominant. They are so good. It's impossible to beat them at their game. Today may be that one time, those few times over the course of the season where the ingredients are right, where it possibly could go the other way, and Brandon Broby could wind up here in victory lane. There's just something different in the air tonight, I'm feeling. The winds of change are blowing, perhaps, I think. That's just my opinion. We'll see what happens as we're now working lap 92 already. 133 laps the distance. And when you're going around this facility at 32 seconds and 34 seconds, it doesn't take long to hit 100 laps.
Oh, it doesn't. Race leader Austin Collins right now, he's got himself about a 6.5 second lead over Brandon Broby. He's going to have another pit stop coming his way. But I tell you what, he's sitting here 6 seconds above the race lead. Thomas Harmon just made a pass over Dave Acacia, takes away 5th place.
Now, this is the time of the race where we really see Thomas Harmon, drivers like Austin Collins, Taylor Butcher Benjamin really start to make that charge towards the front and put that dominating grasp, at the front of the field in that P1 position per se. But Thomas, he has his work cut out from him. He's got some big work tonight, which is uncharacteristic of the situations that we typically see the 68 in. Just how good is Thomas Harmon and others? We're about to find out.
I tell you what, in just under 40 laps, he's 17.5 seconds behind Brandon Broby. That's going to be a really tough type of gap to overcome. Thomas Harmon, he would be the guy to get her done for sure, but
right,
that is a long way to go. Brandon Broby has been virtually flawless all race. Austin Collins holds on to the race lead, but his last pit lap was lap number 70. It'll be tough for him to make it to the end. The only solace, I guess, that Taylor Butcher Benjamin, Thomas Harmon might have is that Broby pitted with 50 laps to go, and he hasn't gone 50 laps on any set of tires. He's done 41 and 42. So you can maybe hope in the last 8 laps of his tire stint, you can jump into some unprecedented territory and get a run, get him chased down and passed. But we do have a long way to go, but that is a long type of lead.
I mean, we're talking all different. Everything we're talking about right now is long game criteria, and that falls in line. That falls suit with this series. But like you said, this man has to drive an extra 7-8 laps that he has shown that he can perform and successfully do. That's a lot given the fact that how big the ask is of these tires per lap at speed around this racetrack. You don't want to meatball. You don't want to blow a tire here because that's a black flag. And the minute that happens, you have to serve a penalty. So, I mean, 8 laps doesn't seem like a lot, but under these conditions, it absolutely is. As the 45 continues to just, I am awestruck up here in the booth. I mean, this guy has just been, I mean, robotic, lights out, flawless from the drop of the green flag. As Taylor Butcher Benjamin, Thomas Harmon, the dominant forces in the series, are virtually, I almost want to say, powerless right now to come up there and compete with the 45 this evening. And it's hard to say that. I mean, knowing what they've been able to do as they sit there right now and, you know,
DVB over a second quicker than Austin Collins, almost a second quicker than Brandon Barby that last time around.
Right, and they have the speed. The problem is they have that. I mean, Taylor Butcher Benjamin is over 11 seconds off the lead right now. Yeah, that's close it. That deficit's coming back the other way as he's faster on the racetrack right now. The other thing is he's sitting there in 3rd position. He's not sitting there in 2nd position. Let's go back now to Thomas Harmon. He's in 4th. And then where's your other guy that's so great on the long run? Austin Collins, he's P1 right now, but he still has to come in and make a pit stop. So when he does that, Broby is going to take the lead back, and then Taylor Butcher Benjamin's going to slide up into P2, and you would automatically think, okay, it's shake and bake.
Here comes Austin Collins into the pits now for the money stop. Brandon Broby takes over the race lead, and I tell you what, Taylor Butcher Benjamin is now less than 10 seconds away. 11.5 back to Thomas Harmon. Does this race fall into the hands of two of the guys we've seen best at these long runs? Thomas Harmon, Taylor Butcher Benjamin. We've seen them together late in the race, especially with that 68 making the pass late over Taylor Butcher Benjamin. He's got himself about 2 seconds, second and a half. 2 3/4 is what the gap is between him and Thomas Harmon. You know he wants to keep him behind, but now 9 seconds of a gap, almost a second quicker than Brandon Broby, your race leader. Taylor Butcher Benjamin might be in the catbird seat right now with 30 laps to go. That type of time gained per lap, that puts you way ahead of Brandon Broby based on the way the math goes. He's got himself a little bit of time to save some tire. He's got 7-lap fresher tires.
And that's great data points there. Great call. The only thing I'm going to say to counter that is you're going to have to run harder than Brandon Broby is in order to catch him out there on the racetrack.
And to play with your point there, Matt, catching somebody is one thing. Passing them is a whole nother game.
My man. That's right. Now, believe me, I would love to see Taylor Butcher, Benjamin, Thomas Harmon go up there and challenge the 45 for the lead. That would be an epic, entertaining, blockbuster event. The
Michael Howery in the chat says, keep it, Brandon, keep it. Number 45. Another fan for Brandon Broby up in the chat. Hate to interrupt you there, Matt. Sorry.
No, you're perfectly fine, man. Appreciate everyone in the chat cheering on their driver. Let us know who you're rooting for. We'll do our best to get them some more screen time. And believe me, when you guys pump them up, they do drive faster. James was a firm believer in that, and I agree with that as well. The 45 is alive and well in the SRM chat right now. Pumping this man up, wants to see him close the deal and bring it home in Chicago. But Taylor Butcher Benjamin, Thomas Harmon, and the other usual suspects are going to have something to say before this is all said and done. Or could we see a random caution flag, that would blow the roof off of this joint. Could you imagine spree racking, restacking these guys? 10 laps to go at Chicago, fresh tires, this racetrack. That would make for an exhilarating finish. Is look at Austin Collins just check out. See you later, buddy, on the top side.
Fresh tires working out for Austin Collins. He's at P8 right now, but I tell you what, this gap to the race lead, less than 6 seconds. Matt, I don't... Oh, here comes Brandon Brorby into the pits. Can't make it on fuel. He's going to come in and make a pit stop. Taylor Butcher Benjamin in on lap 90. He's got 43 laps to go on his tank of fuel. Thomas Harmon less than 2 seconds behind him. And I tell you what, how many times have we seen the 8 versus the 68 at the end of these races? It's looking to me like we might see that one more time as Brandon Brorby comes in. We'll see what he gets. Lifting up the right sides. Looking back on the race leader. Taylor Butcher Benjamin now. Brandon Brorby comes in. He's getting left sides as well. They drop the hammer. He drops the pedal. Brandon Brorby.
He is going to have to drop everything in that race car and go Category 5 afterburner to go up there and run these guys back down. As my heart breaks for the 45, but you're absolutely right. Are we gearing up for another classic 8 versus 68 battle? We know how good those have been. Down to the wire, last lap passes, touching, pushing on each other, leaning, but not wrecking. And deja vu, here we are again. Taylor Butcherman leads. Thomas Harmon in the Scooby-Doo machine. Gonna run him down. The last thing you want to do is have Scooby-Doo get one of those Scooby snacks, because that's when really that car comes to life. Could we be setting up for another instant classic here from Chicago? Time will tell, but the other thing that about time, it is running out, is we're already on lap 110. Is the
There's
45
Brorby getting
now
around Thomas Harmon.
I
might play into his benefit when he gets up into the battle for the race lead against Taylor Butcher Benjamin. Gonna ride on board with Thomas Harmon, try to figure out where is he lifting, where is he quicker. He's putting down virtually equal lap times with your race leader Taylor Butcher Benjamin right now. That last time it was 5/100ths of a second slower. This time around we'll see what we've got. After getting passed by Brandon Brorby, I would imagine it's going to be a little bit slower. But now Brorby's going to be working around Taylor Butcher Benjamin. Here comes another lap car. That's the 21 of... Or rather, it's shown as the 10. That's Chris Vanderplaats, a couple of laps down.
As he's making a return to competition here. I feel like we haven't seen him here in a while. Great to have him back on the racetrack.
Yeah, it's certainly been a while since we've seen Vanderplaats. We know the Vanderplaats fans were prominent when we were able to see him up in the racing league here, but
absolutely, he definitely had a strong following and had the support. So great to see him back in competition. Brandon Brorby currently scored in that 6th place position. Last time by, he ran a 30.82 on the racetrack. Taylor Butcher Benjamin ran a 32.24. Let that sink in. As we continue
last
to
time
watch.
Last time around, Taylor Butcher Benjamin another 10th quicker than Thomas Harmon. We got 20 laps to go as these guys hit the start-finish line this time. We're going to go ahead and take one final break and bring you guys to the finish of this Chicagoland event. I tell you what, it's looking to be a thriller with the players we've got up front. Back live here at Chicagoland Speedway, and we're watching Austin Collins racing side by side with the 17 Dave Acacia. This is not for position, but the closest battle we've got on track right now. Meanwhile, the race for the lead closing up just a little bit. It's now 1.5 with 17 laps to go. Last time around, Thomas Harmon was 1/10 quicker. With these cars up in front, these lapped cars with fresher tires, might be affecting the air on the number 8. But I tell you what, these things seem to be heating up as we get towards the end of the race.
How many times this season have we seen this? Taylor Butcher Benjamin leading late in the race. Oftentimes has a dominant performance all race long. And then the 68, the Hammer Harmon, decides it is time to go up there and take what's his and absolutely rob the 8 of the win time and time again. Later on in the season, he broke through. He was able to defeat the 68. He has multiple wins. But the 68 and the 8 continue to put on one of the greatest shows in the Gen 4 class on the iRacing circuit you will ever see. And if you guys are new, stick around because it's about to get good. Is now Thomas Harmon just 1.34 seconds back from Taylor Butcher Benjamin. Is he going to do it again? Time will tell. Let us know in the chat what your thoughts are. Is the 45 going to have a miraculous rebound, or is it going to be another classic TBB Thomas Harmon battle to the finish line? Let us know as these laps continue to wind down.
Gonna be tough for that 20 or that 45 to have a rebound. Now he's sitting 21.5 seconds up off of the race lead. He's definitely quicker, almost a second quicker, but not gonna have enough time. Taylor Butcher Benjamin gets around PJ O'Leary. He's got 1.3 seconds separating him, 13 laps to go. Last time around, only half a tenth quicker for Thomas Harmon. Not enough of a gain to be able to get up to the top spot, but I tell you what, Richard Springer on faster tires chasing down the 8, plus the 29 of PJ O'Leary laps down after the pit penalty, staying out of the way. That might play into a factor. Actually, looking back now on Thomas Harmon, he's going to have clear space. There's Richard Springer.
Springer in the wall
once again.
As the second place car is holding on and praying for dear life, the 21 is able to keep it straight as he is that is just nerve-wracking. When you're deep into a race and you see the car you're taking, just basically trying to get out of the way to help you out, gets into the wall. Is Harmon now is going to have to go back to work again.
11 laps to go, a second and a half to try to gain on Taylor Butcher Benjamin. The Butcher, the meat cutter, has been cutting through the field all day. He's currently sitting, well, he started second. He's only up one spot, but I tell you what, he's been up and down, especially with how Brandon Burby was able to lead this field. Taylor Butcher Benjamin right now holding on to a second and a half lead with 10 laps to go over Thomas Harmon, who sits at 42 wins, right behind all-time wins leader Wade Hustad, who has 43 wins. Thomas Harmon, you know as well as I do that he would love to get up there and tie that record, try to get as close as he can. There goes Richard Springer down to the bottom. Big momentum for the fresh tires on that 21 car, gets down to the bottom of the race lead, and that was a quick move down to the bottom. Tell you what, man, different camera angle might not have looked so bad, but that one right there, thought there might have been potential for contact between the 21 and the 8.
Man, you're not kidding. I mean, did you see the sidewinder he dialed up in that 21? I thought that was
scraped the wall. Harmon scrapes the wall. 2/10 lost that corner.
And this is what I wanted to get at. I know it has to be in his mind. Taylor Butcher Benjamin, just a few short weeks ago, Harmon got him again late in the race. I believe it was the final lap. Thomas Harmon got him. Taylor Butcher Benjamin, he was dejected in the interview. You could hear it in his voice. You know the last thing he wants to do is Harmon's in the wall again.
Yeah,
the
buddy.
last thing
giving it everything he's got up on top.
I mean, he is exploring the space right now, using every piece of this racetrack, even part of the wall, to try to do something to go up there and catch the 8. But I promise you, that 8 is thinking about that right now, and he is going to do everything he possibly can within the confines of that race car to make sure Thomas Harmon does not steal another one from him again. As the laps continue to wind down, now writing lap 127 into the history books as we now set sail through the turns 3 and 4 complex. As you
Thomas
see,
Harmon, you saw him change up his line in turns 1 and 2, trying to catch up to Taylor Butcher Benjamin, but it doesn't look like that helped him. He ran the top side in 3 and 4. Seems to be quicker in the front straightaway right now. It's 1.6 seconds of a gap, but with 6 laps to go, Thomas Harmon has a tall task in front of him, riding on that seam, maybe trying to use that to help him turn. Still, well, I tell you what, he gained up in turns 1 and 2 right there. It went from 1.7 to 1.5 in 2 turns. So we'll see if Thomas Harmon can get it down. He's running the middle to top lane. Super sideways for Thomas Harmon there. Had to slow down, make a correction. Lost everything he just gained. And now 5 laps to go for Taylor Butcher Benjamin. He's got 1.7 seconds between him and Thomas Harmon. Matt Burgess sits 12 seconds behind these guys. In 3rd place, Austin Collins on these fresher tires, going to try to chase him down in the last 5 laps. 5 seconds, it's 4.5 seconds difference now. Austin Collins much quicker, but is it going to be enough time for Mr. Collins to get up on the podium? How many times have we talked about Taylor Butcher Benjamin, Thomas Harmon, Austin Collins being the fastest 3? Matt Burgess doing everything he can to put his way up into the fastest drivers of the league. He says, hey, screw the big 3. I'm one of these guys too.
well said. I could not agree with you any better myself. As the 12 of Matt Burgess has drove a heck of a race here this evening, and he's earned that podium spot he sits in right now. But he's got the past champ, the guy that stole 2 races both weeks in a row on the last lap of the race to open up the series, Austin Collins. Another long-run man with the plan who sits in 4th on fresh Goodyear Eagles, or fresher Goodyear Eagles. Can he run him down and dethrone Burgess?
Way to go. It's going to be tough for him. He hasn't been able to gain. Actually, Burgess was quicker that last time around. But 3 laps to go for Taylor Butcher Benjamin. He's coming up off of turn number 4. We're riding on board. A couple of lap cars in front of him. 2 more laps around. 3 miles for Taylor Butcher Benjamin to get yet another win here in the Dynasty Racing League Pro Series.
Taylor Butcher Benjamin, he just has to be conservative. Don't make any mistakes, and you have won this race. 1 second, 1.30 seconds back to Thomas Harmon in the 68. Can the 8 retake what was taken from him a few short weeks ago when Harmon stole it at the line? Taylor Butcher Benjamin seems to have the antidote dialed up in that 8 machine today. Look how smooth he is around this racetrack, just easing that car into the corners all the way down, just a half a car length off that white line. Slowly brings that car back up to the top side of the racetrack, work in the middle as he backs off the throttle, gingerly applies a tad of brake, rotates it back down to the bottom of the racetrack, coming out of the turns 3 and 4 complex here one more time. And at the line, your winner from Chicagoland, Taylor Butcher Benjamin, serves up another T-bone steak as Thomas Harmon is denied, comes home in second. And what about Matt Burgess with a shocker here in Chicago as he snags the podium spot and does not allow Austin Collins to hit the podium? That is impressive as he comes home in 4th. Brandon Broby in 5th. Jacob Drift King in the 14 machine 6th. Dave Acadia, Chris Vanderplatz, David Wright, and PJ O'Leary, who had one heck of a run going until everything went wrong on the pit stop, comes home in 10th. But how about the drive, the determination, the can-do? Was not going to let history repeat itself. was absolutely clutch in that race car. I didn't see that thing wiggle once over the last 20 laps of that race. And Taylor Butcher Benjamin is able to outlast the competition and be the
I tell you
first
what,
man.
man, if he had mud flaps on that car, it would be on fire. Taylor Butcher Benjamin lighting him up.
Oh, yeah, that's one thing they haven't done in iRacing yet for figure out a way to let these cars catch on fire if you burn
Thank
the tires
goodness.
down too much. As you see him now doing the Polish victory lap there, just going up there, waving to the fans as he's going to burn it down the top side. That was made famous, of course, by the late, great Alan Kowicki, as he's going to try and pull in line here and line up with the 68 and the 12, as these are your top three finishers from the Windy City right here at Chicagoland Speedway.
Sir, we'll have Matt with the race winner in just a moment. We'll run through the top, or actually run through the finishing order. Taylor Butcher Benjamin gets the job done. Thomas Harmon, Matt Burgess, Austin Collins, Brandon Brorby, Jacob Glodulus, the Drift King finishes 6th. Dave Acacia, Chris Vanderplatz, David Wright, PJ O'Leary in the top 10, Richard Springer, and Matt Sisler rounding out the starters for today. But I tell you what, we talked about the starters enough. We're going to talk to the race winner right now. Matt Medler, I believe you are with our race winner, Taylor Butcher Benjamin.
Taylor, you got me, buddy, up in the booth.
Yeah, how you guys doing?
Man, I am doing fantastic. My partner's fired up. Just a few short weeks ago, we watched you and Thomas Harmon have one heck of your classic battles. Unfortunately, he got you at the line, and I remember that interview. You could hear it in your voice. And as these laps here were winding down, I couldn't help to think to myself that you were thinking about that, and you were doing everything in your power to make sure that didn't happen again. And you drove the lights off out of that race car. I didn't see it bobble, wiggle once in 20 laps. You go out there, you get a win, a statement win. One heck of a drive in that 8 machine. Walk me through that race. How were you able to hold off the hammer, be so smooth and consistent, and get another W here tonight?
Well, the first thing I was worried about was the whole fuel situation, because I saw him go 45 laps on the first run and I only made it 43. So I was like, well, I got to save like crazy that whole second run, and I somehow managed to make it to the same lap he did, lap 90. So after that, when the fuel wasn't a problem anymore, just focused on hitting my marks and not driving in too hard and being smooth off the corner. And I think he ran me down a little bit at the end, but I think he just had a little bit too much gap to make up.
Yeah, you couldn't have said it better yourself there. Just had a little too much, too late to make up, and that was all a part of that precision driving, just managing your race car, the racetrack, and running the lap times that you needed to run. So talk to me about that 45 machine out there, Brandon Brobby. He seemed like he had the car to beat, and then that pit stop at the end there, he kind of just waited too long. Did you know at that point in time when he waited that much longer to pit that it was going to come down between you and the 68 again?
Well, I also knew that the first run, I think he made it like 42, and then that pattern kind of continues. So I was like, well, he's not saving, so I don't think he can make it on 2. And so I think he actually, on the third run, pitted a little earlier to try to like make up a little distance. But yeah, he definitely had a fast car early on. He was taking my like bottom away and kind of running the middle, and a few times kind of running that second seam, and he was making some good headway. So hats off to him, of course. But yeah, it would have been cool to battle him to the checkered flag if the fuel mileage hadn't to come into play.
Yeah, always a thriller to watch you battle anyone out there on the racetrack, especially when it's coming down to go time there when the checkered flag falls, as we've been treated to all season long. Next week, what do you got for him as we continue to press on throughout the season?
I think next week, where are we, New Hampshire?
New Hampshire.
All right. Well, I won there last year in the Xfinity car, but obviously this is a totally different animal. With this car, it's going to be probably really loose with the amount of horsepower we got, and we got to really save tires. But I think the fact that I'm going in there as a defending winner can take that and use that to my advantage with a little momentum.
Yeah, certainly momentum coming off the win here, winning there last year. Momentum, such a big part of this, and that's what you have right now. And I know it has to feel good to maintain that lead and come out the other side in victory lane. Congratulations, another job well done. Who do you want to thank on that 8? Who helps you get it done before we cut you loose, sir?
Of course, thank Richard and David from Dysfunctional Patriots and Cody Barber last week. It was good to see him return, even though kind of stuff happened. Thanks to, of course, you guys for doing the broadcast and everybody watching, and of course everybody for making it or keeping it clean and another caution-free race. That's always good. And yeah, like you said, I mean, Michigan was tough last week. Had a tough ending also, but it's good to get this win tonight.
There he is, ladies and gentlemen, the driver of the number 8 Chevrolet gets it done here in Chicagoland with that new precision blade, just slicing and dicing the entire field here this evening. Your winner, Taylor Butcher Benjamin. Liam, back to you, sir.
Sir, we've got Thomas Harmon up in here, second place finisher. And Thomas, you ran a phenomenal race. It kind of looked like throughout the middle part, the strategy was really not going to fall your way, but you wind up second place. Do you think there was anything you could have done to catch that number 8 car up in front of you?
Yeah, I probably should have pit a little bit earlier to fake him out in the strategy call, but I ran it long, hoping not trying to get the saving out of the way. And then once he was onto my game, he was close enough and had a big enough gap that he was able to save big in that second stint. And then I don't think my pit road entries helped at all. I kind of babied it on tonight because I was completely unfamiliar with getting on the pit road with these cars. So overall, I know where I needed to improve. Taylor had a good run though. I can't take that away from him. But yeah, I just wish I would have realized that he could have made that second stint as long as he did before I realized it.
Well, I tell you what, you're sitting at 42 wins. You got super close this time around. Do you think next time is potentially the time you get up and tie with Wade?
I would like to think so. I honestly have no idea what tracks we have left on the schedule.
I believe it's New Hampshire.
Oh, well, me and New Hampshire are not friends, so I don't expect to do well there. We'll see, though. I have random runs that are decent there, but for the most part, not so great there.
Well, I definitely get that. New Hampshire's not a track that makes friends with people easily. But, you know, hopefully we see you running up in the top side of that. But before we cut you loose, who do you want to thank for such a strong run here, such a fast number 68 Scooby-Doo machine?
I'm going to forego my usual list of suspects tonight, and I'm just going to go straight to my daughter. Shout out to her. As soon as we get done with this interview here, I'm heading back to the hospital with her. So, thanks, guys.
I know nothing about that, but it is never good to have a child in the hospital, dude. And I thoroughly thoughts and prayers are with you and your family, and really hope all goes well. I appreciate you showing up, doing the race, doing the interview, but yeah, thoughts and prayers are with you, your family, and your daughter. Not sure what's going on, but wish you guys all the best of luck.
Thank you.
Well, we're going to cut you loose and let you deal with what you got to, and go ahead, do a third place interview. And Matt Burgess going to be up in the booth here in just a moment. But yeah, definitely want to give a quick shout out to Thomas Harmon and his family. And
Absolutely.
yeah, if he's got a child in the hospital, that's a terrible thing to have to deal with. And, you know, obviously
clearly,
we hope it's not a super bad type of situation. Obviously, he's able to race with us and hang out. So
Anytime you're racing or competing at this level with a heavy heart, that makes it that much more difficult to get out there and to perform and execute. And what he was able to still do tonight, in spite the adversity that's in front of him, whatever that situation is, we wish a speedy recovery and wish him and his daughter and immediate family the best. And we certainly appreciate him sticking it out and running his heart out here tonight for his daughter. He gave it one heck of a go here, coming home second. As I believe, Liam, you got Matt Burgess with you in the booth in that 12 machine.
Yes, we do. Matt Burgess, phenomenal run here. You come home in third. It did not come easy. You had a lot of battles throughout the course of the race. But third place, that's where you end up. Kind of walk us through some of the battles you had. We know you raced a little bit with the 1742 and the one car especially.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, we all kind of end up with some slightly different strategies for the race. Some people are doing the 3-stop, and then there's some of us trying to stretch the fuel. I like the fuel, and I thought we had enough where I wouldn't have to save in that first run. And then when I got about 9 or 10 laps before I had to pit, I realized I needed to go like an extra lap, so to try and make it, on a 2-stopper. So I had to start saving, and then when you get the different fuel strats, you got different tires, and there's a few times you get around people and the tires are kind of even, or they're a little bit better and they get ahead of you, and then either you save tires better and get by them. I know with the 17, there's a couple times where like he got by me, and then when his tires fell off a little bit and mine were still decent, I got back by him. But yeah, I got hats off to both TBB and Thomas for being able to save that much fuel and maintain that type of pace.
Did you have any sort of question whether or not you're going to be able to make it on 2 or 3, or?
I knew based
After
on
that
once I
first
got
run, I
towards
guess.
the end of the run. Yeah, once I got towards the end of the run, I knew that first run, I knew you could make it on 2 stops. You would just have to, I would have to save harder in that second stint, which I did, and then even on the third stint, I had to save some because I couldn't quite. If I'd gotten to lap 91 in pit, it would have been good. But since I didn't, I had to continue to save. So when I finished the race, I had 0.2 gallons in the tank left.
Jeez. Running on fumes to get her done there. But Matt, tell you what, you come home with the 3rd place finish. 2 wins and a 3rd place in the last 3 weeks. Doesn't sound too bad to me.
Oh, definitely, I'll take it. I mean, you got TBB, Thomas, Austin, and then there's a couple other guys here that are fast that haven't won yet. So that results in 3 weeks. Yeah, I'll definitely take that.
Well, before we cut you loose, who do you want to thank for such a strong run? We know you got Fallout, Nuka-Cola up on there, but who else helps you get that done?
I got to help or thank Thomas and Austin. We were kind of discussing in our channel there with each other, and we could kind of get a feeling, since Collins went on that 3-stop strategy, what was going to happen. But thanks to those guys. Thanks to the other drivers that come out and race us. It really helps to get those guys out and then everyone racing. Hopefully, a little bit closer racing this next week coming up. And then thanks to you guys for the broadcast, JP for putting on the league, and then all the viewers that watched.
Awesome stuff, Matt. We appreciate you joining us up in the booth. Congratulations on the podium finish. We'll hopefully be talking to you again next week.
I hope so.
Well, that's going to about do it for us here on Sim Racing Media. We'll run through the results once again real quick. Taylor Butcher Benjamin gets the job done over Thomas Harmon, Matt Burgess, Austin Collins, Brandon Broby, Jacob Glodgelich, Dave Acacia, Chris Vanderplaats, David Wright, PJ O'Leary, Richard Springer, Matt Sisler rounding out the field. Don't worry about my name being there. Ran some practice laps to try to learn some stuff. And what I learned is that these guys are much, much, much better than I am. Matt, final thoughts before we get going.
Well, from the southern shores of the Great Lakes, that's where you find Chicago. And just outside of the Windy City, in Juliet, is where we went to war here tonight. And once again, we were treated to an epic battle of strategy that we've never potentially seen here from the races that we've had this season. It looked like Brandon Broby was going to set sail and take this one to the house. But the tide shifted away from that man in the 45 machine and went right into the hands of the usual suspects, Thomas Harmon, Taylor Butcher Benjamin, with another close.
Not sure what happened with Matt there, but another super close battle. Ends up being
We're
less
back.
than 2 seconds. Yeah, Matt.
I'll make it short, sweet, and to the point, but I was saying, hey, just outside of Chicago here from Juliet, Illinois, from the Windy City, we were treated to another epic battle here in prime time. Brandon Broby, heartbroken, looked like he may have had the answer to beat Taylor Butcher Benjamin and Thomas Harmon. Miscalculated a pit stop. It turned the tides right back to the 68 and the 8. But Taylor Butcher Benjamin was able to survive, be clutch at the end, and come home first. Thomas Harmon second. In the interview, you heard Thomas Harmon racing with heavy heart, said that his daughter is currently in the hospital. One thing I know is each and every time adversity strikes one of these drivers, as hard as they compete on the racetrack, no one comes together like the iRacing community. So if you know that man, if you have him on Discord, or if you have his phone number, send him a text message. Let him know you're pulling for him. You wish him the best. And that's what we do best here sometimes right here on SRM, as you guys were treated to another epic event as we have to close the lights down and click the cameras off here tonight. Make sure you have us liked and subscribed so you can return with us here next week as we go up north, as Thomas Harmon has to make friends with Lobby the Lobster, as they need to get on the same page if he wants to tie the all-time winning record. Tune in next week to see if he's able to accomplish that goal or if someone else gets it done from the Northeast. Until then, good night, everybody, and we'll see you next time.